Welcome back to Good Pour. This is Kathryn Good. This is the Good Pour podcast, conversations about good work in our community. And today we have Emma and Fabi with the Collab in Hendersonville. I'm so excited you both are here.
Thank you.
This episode will air the first Tuesday of International Women's Month. So I just love the good timing of y'all being here. And we're going to talk about what that month means. As well as an event that you have coming up, and that it's hopefully still available by the time this airs. But first, I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for everything you've already brought to our communities, both of you. I've known Emma. I guess when you inject,
maybe like
what year was that?
Like 10 years, maybe.
Like you were fresh into Sumner County when I met you. So it's been a joy to see you become integrated in this community, both as a community leader, but as a mom and a wife. So it's a gift that you're here, and I've loved watching you bloom. And
really appreciate that.
Fabi, we met. Do you remember when we met?
Oh my goodness. No.
I met you at, I guess it was the Pinot and Purses that was at.
Oh my goodness, that was so fun.
It must have been 2 years ago.
Yes.
And we were off in the corner, and I cannot remember who introduced us, but I was like, she is the coolest. And what I did,
so
and you were like, basically, how do we do this all the time? How do we get a group of women together like this all the time? And then right then she's like, oh, we're going to do it. Like, I don't even, probably you already had dreams of stuff that was going to come, but it was like, I want to make this happen. I want to get a group of women together. So I just think it's super cool what y'all have done. So without any further ado, what have you done? What is the collab?
Yeah. Well, Fabi and I met in the summer of 2021. I hosted Mom's Night Out because I needed friends. And it was, pandemic time, and it was weird, and we were lonely. So the night that I hosted that, I met Fabi, and her and I and a couple of others decided to do more of these types of women gatherings in person, no longer on Facebook. Meet up for wine or lunch, coffee, Mom's Night Out, whatever. And it was great. And through all that, Fabi introduced us to creating a market. And then we started doing small business type like master classes and over Zoom. Through all of that, her and I just like really discovered that we had this deep passion for creating community and holding space for women, having a physical space for women to connect and to grow and to hopefully thrive in our community of Sumner County. And both of us being not from here, wanting to also find a place that felt like our own too, that like we fit in here.
And initially we were like, maybe 5 years from now.
Yeah.
One day we'll have something like this.
Right. One day.
It's funny how timing works.
It is. And then very quickly we're like, nope, we got to do this right now. So immediately. So 2022, we spent time researching what is co-working, what does community look like in Sumner County, who would benefit from this. So really shifting from what we thought to what we then held true, and then branding and location and all of that fun stuff. And then opened May 2023, so not even a year ago. Which is wild. It has been the most amazing roller coaster of emotions and all the things, but so much work that I think we're both so proud of to create a physical space that is a co-working space focused on women so that they have a space to work, to meet clients, to network, to share resources, but also as an event space where you can hold a baby shower, you can hold a workshop, you can hold your book club or yoga, but having a physical space that is focused on women to feel like, oh, there's a place that I can go and meet people or connect or just feel safe and seen and heard.
That's awesome. Thank you for being one of our first founding members. I think you were number one or two.
Yeah.
That was like, I will put my money where my mouth is and support this venture, even before we had the space and opened it. So thank you.
Well, it was, y'all both know this. It's just something I wish I would have had, you know, early in my career, especially, you know, like when you're trying to juggle momhood and like I was a mom that wanted to continue to work, you know, but I also wanted as much time with my kids as possible. Yes. So, you know, paying for a full-time daycare and trying to work from home and all those things, it was just like, where's the balance here? And I feel like the Collab offers that. Even just, you know, I don't get there as much as I would like to, just run around town all day. But just when I'm there to see the connections that people can make. And I make connections there too. Even it doesn't have to be a new mom, but that was kind of where my heart was at the time, in the sense that it's, even if you're working, you know, for a business in Atlanta, but you are working remotely and you just need somebody in similar shoes. That's it. And so that was, I mean, and I love and appreciate both of you, but it's definitely, and you both know, in my business, I love to bring on, you know, freelancers and 1099 employees that are trying to raise their family or trying to build on whoever they want to become. And so this can be a spot for them too. So you're doing great work.
Thank you. And it's been so beautiful to see the types of women that come into our space: small business owners, remote professionals, freelancers, consultants, but all having that driving force of like, I would just like a place that I can connect with others. You know, I want water cooler talk. I want to hear what's going on. I want to be able to sit down and have hard conversations if I need to. How do I talk to my boss about like this thing that came up, or just to have other perspectives? So it's been really beautiful, the conversations and just the friendships that are building there. But just the network of knowing, oh, I know I can go and find someone that does that. So
what's been most rewarding?
I think the personal growth that we've personally been able to get through by doing this. Like this, it's the first time that either of us were entrepreneurs. We were both, you know, I started a corporate job. We were both working in corporate settings before. And this was a big personal leap for us to do. And we're still learning and just like growing. But I think just like being able to see how you can develop boundaries and develop ways to like work together, and like what does healthy look like in an entrepreneurial setting. I think there's different ways that you can do business, and there's this like, you know, this thing on Instagram about like the girl boss. We hate that word. And there's just like this like competitive way of going about it, and the women competing against each other, and there's this lack mentality, and we are not that. There's like so much abundance in the kingdom, right? There's so much. We do not have to compete. We can collaborate. That's why we call it Collab, and seeing how we can bring to life the ideas that we have, because we don't have to ask permission. We can just do it.
That's right.
And sometimes it falls flat and no one comes to an event, and then we're like, dust it off, and then we go again. And we've had so many, it's not even been a year, but we've had so many ups and downs, and it's just been like, I would not have, it's not just you open a business and you make revenue and you move on. There's just like so much. From a familiar perspective, our partners, our families are impacted by it. Like you grow so much as an entrepreneur. So that's, I think, for me, been so rewarding. Like personally, it's in addition to obviously what we're doing for the community.
Yeah. I mean, I echo that, and just that, like, I've learned a lot about myself personally this year, and about how I'm designed and how I function and operate. And going on this journey, I've learned that, you know, I needed to be in this partnership to help me kind of get there. And now I see that I'm designed to do this. Like, I love the freedom of, there's no rules. Like, we can create what we want, we can dream, we can whatever. but it has been so rewarding to see like, wow, like I can do this. I can be an entrepreneur. And it's hard, and I don't have all the answers, and I worry way too much, and I stress way more than she does, that we're just built differently.
Yeah.
And I have to work on that in myself a lot, because I just carry that. But trying to release that, but yeah, personal development, but also just seeing the beauty that flourishes in that space from either events or day to day. Just the beautiful, amazing, incredible women that we've met. Just truly feel so honored. I'm seriously say that. So honored to know them and to just have a small blip in their life. And it just gives me chills thinking about like what they're doing for their families and community. And I'm just so happy to see them thriving.
Yeah. I love what you said, both of you said about personal growth. It's hard enough to run a business by yourself without knowing kind of who you are and what you're made, how you're made. It's really hard to make those decisions if you don't know that. It's even harder to work with someone else, right? If you don't know how you tick, it's really hard to run, right? It just is. So it's probably the best foundation lesson you can learn together, to learn about yourselves, but then also how do you work together? So congrats on that.
Absolutely. Well, we're still learning.
Sure.
We're still all the time. But I think we are both committed to that. Like we're both committed to this mission, and we're both learning of like, okay, what are our strengths? What are our boundaries? Like, how do we continue to work together and grow this thing that we both deeply believe in and want to exist and thrive.
Love it. So International Women's Month. One of the things I love about your space is how beautiful it is. And I mean, it's just, you just want to come in. But International Women's Month, I feel like the branding of International Women's Month is always wonderful. And so I actually don't know a whole lot about it. I just look forward to it. So tell me kind of why this is important and what we can celebrate during International Women's Month.
Yeah, well, March, and I didn't know this a lot growing up either, but now like being in the corporate world, being introduced to this idea, it's really about celebrating women and honoring and acknowledging our perseverance, the hard things, talking about equality and equity, and so much of that is we are still behind in so many ways. And so how can we continue this conversation of women growing and stepping up? Because I believe, and you do too, like we're the most powerful being. Like women as a whole, like we're pretty fantastic. We can have babies and we nurture the world and we are the creatives. And for some reason they like to keep us down, but we want to shine the light of women. And so our International Women's Day celebration on Friday, March 8th, that is International Women's Day. It is a gathering to do just that, to celebrate and cheer each other on. And like Fabi said, no competition. It is a time to collaborate and just acknowledge each other and like see the good and the bad and be heard. It's truly beautiful and echoes my heart of what I wish the world of women's relationships looked like. That I wish that like every day could look like this, truly.
Yeah, and I think we are we live from our hearts. That's if you look at our branding, if you look how we speak, the events we have, we are people who is very much in our feminine, and we live with our hearts open. And I think the more we can invite other women to do the same, the more we can that like kind of cattiness that a lot of times happen when women come together will hopefully be less and less, and especially with the next generation. We all are mothers, like you said, and so how do we provide a space for all of us to come and celebrate each other? And I think there's something to it when they say when a woman thrives, everyone in the community thrives, because we don't just do it for ourselves. we find someone else to bring along as well. That's just natural what we do. We want to share the love and share the load, and share what we learn. And so you'll find that like a lot of times when a woman learns something, they're like, who can I share this with? Who can I, bring along on this journey? And so that's what we want to continue to cultivate in our space. We had our first inaugural one last year here at BYH in Gallatin, and it was one of our favorite events. We have our panelists there. It was just so great to just bring women together and have these types of conversations, because I don't think it happens often enough. And so it is, it's great that we do this on International Women's Day, but like, what would it look like if we do it more often, right? What if we do, why do we only need that day to do it? Like, what could it look like, and how could our relationship flourish, and how can we be more collaborative to kind of cultivate that on a daily basis?
So we'll give information on how to. So it's the 8th. What are the times?
Yep. Friday, March 8th at 6 p.m. at the Collab in Hendersonville. We have an incredible lineup of panelist speakers, because we're about sharing and contributing. So I'm not going to say all of them, but there's just amazing women that are here in Sumner County, in Nashville. We have food and drinks and photography and photo booth and giveaways and all this fun stuff to make it just a fun celebration. And tickets are available on our website, thecollabtn.com. And you can also follow us on social media.
And then part 2 of that is if they can't come on the 8th, but maybe they just like the sound of being involved. And do you have guest passes? Do you have, kind of trials? How does that work if someone's brand new?
Yeah, absolutely. We have day passes. They're $25 if someone wants to just come check out what is co-working, right? So like a lot of us now are remote professionals, and working at home can be isolating, or there's distractions of laundry or the dog or whatever it might be. And on some days, like, that's fine. I also love to lounge and just like be at home a little bit, but sometimes I get antsy and I need that social interaction. So that's why we created this space, was for that, to have another option, a third place, as they call it. Like there's home or there's church, but we were never really designed to work at home in the place where we live. And it just becomes like you don't know how to set that boundary of self. So instead of going to a coffee shop that can be noisy, or if you can't find a seat, it's a space for you to come and work. It's quiet, intentional, peaceful. So day passes, we have memberships. It's kind of like a gym. So it's just monthly memberships. There's a couple of options. But yeah, we are open, and just if you have questions.
Want to check it out, come
for
a tour.
Yeah, come for a tour.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Just book a tour on our website and
Mm-hmm.
come check it out and work for the day.
Yeah. And we do our own events, and then we also let other people book the space for their events. Like I mentioned.
Like I said, a gorgeous, wonderful for baby showers.
So perfect for that.
Bridal showers.
Yeah.
Birthday parties.
Galentine's, like all the women's
gosh.
events. Yes.
We had some good actual, workshops there as well. Where
Yeah.
people, or corporate events even. Like if you are a small business in the area and you don't have offices in your office, you don't necessarily have maybe somebody to train your staff. You can book out the space for the whole day and come and do trainings there. So there is AV, and there's a lot of options that we work with people, because there really isn't any spaces in Hendersonville, at least, that can fit about we can fit about 40 to 50 people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's just nice to have another option. And again, our hearts is to provide a space for the community. So we're like, come on, bring your idea. Let's figure it out together and how we can collaborate.
Is there any kind of frequently asked question or misconception you'd like to take the opportunity just to clear up? Because
totally. Why not? Yeah. I mean, one that I'll say is we are women focused, but we do not discriminate. We've had men who are like, my power's out and I don't want to go to the coffee shop and I just need to pop in for a day pass. Great. Totally fine. We welcome everyone. And we've we have specifically there's a training or a company that's coming for a training, and it's 90% men. You know, we are welcome to that. We just feel that it's also important to provide a safe space for women in the community because we belong too. Yeah.
Anything else?
I think that's our main one that we get, like, oh, is all men welcome or can they come? I think I would just tell people if it's something that you're interested in or it tickles your fancy, like what we get every time someone walks into the door, they're like, this is so welcoming. So that's mostly what we get. It's like, this is very intentionally created. I feel so welcome here. And so, yeah, no matter who you are, if you're in Sumner County and you feel like you need to get out of the house, come give it a try, you know, and see how you feel after spending the day there. I think there's like a pandemic of loneliness, you know, in America, and at least. And so it can be very lonely especially being a solopreneur, and even being a remote professional. And so it's really hard to keep motivating yourself when you're by yourself at your house. And so we're there to be that, you know, place for you to come. And the conversations are just like so random sometimes.
So random, so hilarious.
That come out.
That come up, and
there's just like so many different people, and you can just like learn. They would never have met each other if it wasn't for the collab. And there's so many new people that are moving here, and that they're like, oh, I just need somewhere to, you know, land.
New people for sure.
It's been really beautiful. And I want to echo on something that you said about women who like to work. You know, there was a time in my life that I had to be a stay-at-home mom for a little bit. So I have all the love for that. Like, be whoever you want to be. If you are a woman who wants to work, who wants to find other women who also like to do that, I think it's a great space for that. Like, we care about what we're doing, and all women do.
And also, I think it's a space to dream. Because I hear still, I mean, I'm 45, and I still hear friends of mine that are the same age say, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, right? And a lot of that is we just don't give ourselves the space and the time to say, what do I care about? What is my passion? How can I play this passion out on a very part-time basis if I need or want to? So I do think even coming in and that's what I love about the space, because I do think you can come in and say, what do you do? Someone asks you, what do you do? And you can say, I don't know.
I don't know.
And it's fine.
It's fine.
There's no pressure. There's no competition. It's almost celebrated, right? Like it's
1000%. It's like, cool. Do you want to figure that out or not? Like, great, whatever. You know, we're here to support the whole woman. And just be an advocate for her. Like, that is our heart, is to advocate and share and hopefully be the good of you know, spreading love.
So less than a month or a year in, less than a month, less than a year. Both first-time entrepreneurs. Highs and lows, you've both said, which is very normal for a business. What is one thing you do? And you could give me two, because I really would like to hear. You're in a unique position. You're both entrepreneurs and you're in a partnership. So how do you stay focused on good work? And you know, sometimes we go through a high and the other person's going through a low, and sometimes we're both going through the low together in any sort of partnership. So what's just a habit or, you know, something you do to one, stay focused on your passion, but even if you have to give a second answer, that's fine. But just advice to people that may be in a partnership or looking to start a partnership.
So our lawyer told us that a partnership is like marriage when we went and signed our like agreement, because it's like basically you're going into a marriage, and all the things that go with marriage. We know there's like a honeymoon phase, and then there's like, you know, you have to deal with like relational issues and the intimacy that's not necessarily, like, there's some level of intimacy there. That's in a marriage, right? And I can definitely agree with that sentiments after almost a year in.
We know so much.
And I think communication is the most important thing, and being open to feedback and having honest conversations, but with kindness.
Yeah.
And I think we do a really good job with that, of being like, this is where I am, or we've had like conversations with like, ooh, that hurt, and then we were able to come back and be like, I think like, let's work through that a little bit more, because like that wasn't necessarily the best way to. And I was telling her, I was like, it is so different being in a relationship. I don't know if it's with a woman, because I always feel like we are in a relationship.
Yeah.
Than being with a man, because there's like the masculine energy and the feminine energy, you know, there's that piece to deal with. But also we are so committed to doing our own inner work. We take so much self-responsibility. We show up for ourselves and we show up for each other. And we are just, I feel like we're able to be so kind but firm, and be able to bring up the things that are hard, but in a way that's not hurtful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's important to us to be loving, because we want this to work. Like we want to stick with this, and we know that we can't just shut the other person out and be mean, and we have to be thoughtful about that. And it has, I think, both challenged us of like very eye-opening of like, oh, this is what's needed, you know? And so much of like, okay, this is how I receive that. This is what I need, or this is so much of that communication, and overly and talking, not just the thing, but how, or like the round of the thing. So it's been really good. Yeah. Like that's how we learn so much more about ourselves. Yes. And like now we have better boundaries, and we know that like, okay, this is how this person handles it, and this is how I, and
what do you need, and how do I
and neither's wrong.
No. Neither's wrong.
Yeah.
No. Neither's wrong. And it might be different, or sometimes it might be uncomfortable, but knowing that it's not out of hard feelings, or like knowing that it's not bad, you know, and just like we're all just trying to do our best and figure out, okay, how can I continue to do better and serve best in this relationship, so we can continue to grow this little baby of a business, you know. But it's been really beautiful.
Yeah. And I think what I would say, like, if advice for partnerships is make sure you guys have the same goal, because if you guys aren't working towards the same thing and there isn't trust there's going to be all of these other things. They're going to be, you're going to make things into things that aren't things, because ultimately the trust isn't there. And so like we needed to get to a point where we both said to each other out loud and agreed that this is priority for us, and this is something that we're both looking to be successful. But I think sometimes, especially in a marriage, you can assume things that your partner knows, but you've never actually said it out loud. Like, I thought you knew that I am committed, for example. But like, until I say it out loud to you, you may have doubts. And so we needed to get to a point where we both say to each other that, and be vulnerable enough to say, I don't know how this is going to work, but I am in it to figure it out. There are lots of vulnerability.
Yeah,
lots of tears.
Like lots of vulnerability. So like just be open to that, you know, and like taking care of yourself. Like we take care of ourselves differently, but that like this has taught me of like, oh, I really need to take care of myself. So my good thing right now is yoga. Like I'm just all in on yoga, and like I do it 3-4 times a week, and I have this great instructor, and it's just that is my self-care to like refuel me. Be like, okay, now I feel energized to go and like serve, and it looks differently at different times, you know, but you do have to have those things that light you up as a person to keep trekking and doing this. But honestly, like when like we have a member event and we get to talking and we get to sharing, and I'm like, that fills me up, and I'm like, okay, we're doing something good. We're doing something good, you know, and this is so special. Honestly fills me up every time.
It can get hard, right?
Yeah,
like,
in the grind.
The minutia of the, like, you know, you need to like in there, and you worrying about the finances, and you like, am I gonna like have enough to make rent, and like like first year of a business is hard.
And like self-funded, like and crowdfunded. Like crowdfunded, self-funded, like no debt. So it's just, there's a lot on the line. You have a physical space, you know?
So like when you're in that, like, and it's so easy to kind of get caught up in that and forget your why and forget and so it is so important to remind yourself, like, what am I doing this for, and getting and hearing from your members, and like, you know, soliciting that feedback almost selfishly to like remind yourself, like, oh, okay, this is worth it. This is worth it.
This works. This doesn't. And I would say it like takes like 6 months for me to be like, this is okay. I feel like I really know now that we're open, like we're in it, you know. That's been really cool. But I had a thought, but I forgot. So.
Well, thank you thank you for your passion. One, it's a gift to see passions played out. And I think the underlying thing of what you're saying and why this works is you both know it. You both agree on it. You get to live in a space where you can see that the result of that passion, at least like early fruit, early sprouts, right? Even if you don't see the long term, you can start to see it in the relationships in the community.
Absolutely.
And it's great advice, right? Know your passion, know your goal. But I think because you know it so well, you feel it in the space.
Yes.
And you both say it. And that's one of the things, even from a marketing and messaging standpoint, that we say all the time, like if you don't know that why, if you don't know that passion, no one else is going to know it either. Right. And you're not, it's just not going to work because you've forgotten why you did it to begin with. And so I love everything you just said. So thank you for all you bring to the women of Sumner County and beyond. And I hope to see more of there. I started the February. I really felt like the year did not start in January this year. It started February 1 because all the snow and everything. And I had a commitment. I was gonna be at one of the co-working spaces because I have one in Gallatin here too, like once a week. And we're almost through February and I haven't done it yet. So
I know.
Maybe March is actually the beginning of the year. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I feel that. I'm like, I don't know how it's already March, basically. So,
but it is Women's Month and we are going to celebrate women. And I will see y'all Friday night, March 8th. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. It's very special. Thank you.